Happy Wednesday to everyone. It's August 5th once again. So welcome to our weekly Eagle Team Training Call brought to you by, of course, Kai and Greg Hayes, your Elite Pro 8 from Austin, Texas. So each week we are aggressively reminding everyone about our Super Global Convention, because beginning this year, it's going to be an annual event and moving forward, right? And of course, we are going to kick off our very first year via virtual global event, especially prepared for us by Lifevantage. And we're going to explain to you a little bit about the registration. Where does that $199 going to be? Greg, would you like to start?
Sure. Well, the first thing that the company's going to do is going to give you a convention gift box valued over $300. So you pay $200 and they're giving you $300. And it'll have all kind of products and other goodies that corporate will provide.
Wonderful. And we are going to provide breakout content sections that's crafted where you are in your distributor journey. This means that we have pockets of training that you and your team can attend in order to polish your skills in building your business successfully.
Great. Well, another thing is during the convention and between certain events, corporate will be giving live prize giveaways. So again, more goodies that you'll receive.
Wonderful. And you will also receive a commemorative bracelet signifying that $5 donation to Lifevantage Legacy. That's your charity, okay?
Yeah, and also you're going to have, while you're listening, you're going to have access to exclusive content by corporate and other key speakers and elites that will help you, definitely help you build your business.
That's why this is a must event, okay? Must attend event. And also all available to watch and rewatch for 30 bloody days. So get your tickets now.
Yeah, and make sure that you, not just you and your team are ready. And other additional benefits that you're going to get for your business is, since it's visual, you don't have to go, you don't have travel costs, you don't have hotel costs, you don't have meal costs. You get to relax at home while you listen. And because it's a business, it's a tax write-off for you.
You guys, you cannot miss this, okay? So on to our motivational quotes. Let's start with discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Of course, without discipline, there's no goals, there's no accomplishment, right?
Absolutely. Another, once you replace your negative thoughts with positive ones, you'll start having positive results. So again, you know, if you want to be positive, you have to stay positive. And once you get it, keep it.
Absolutely. So the next is accept the challenges so that you can feel the exhilaration of victory. Guys, if you are not a part of any challenges, you will not attain victory at all.
Yeah, and lastly, you know, with all the craziness going on with this virus and everything else that's going on in the world, you know what? You got to tell yourself, nothing is impossible. The world itself, if you look at the word impossible, says, I am possible. So again, no matter how crazy and how impossible things seem to be for you, remember, they're possible and you can do it.
It's possible. Everything is possible. Yes. Thank you, Greg. And on to our 5-minute mentorship from one of our team leaders, of course, showcasing their knowledge learned in their Lifevantage journey. Take it away, Greg.
Yeah, the next person team leader this week that's going to talk to us is a good friend of mine. His name is Joe Fagan. We also went to college together. He lives in New Jersey now with his family, and he joined Lifevantage this year. So without further ado, Mr. Joe Fagan.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Joe.
I can see Greg, but and wow, look at that. That's a good background, Greg. That was a lot of fun. All right, my topic this evening is contacting, which is the lifeblood of any type of networking organization. Without people, we're pretty much out of business. So we have to go find people. Now, every now and again, I'll hear people say, well, I just can't meet anybody. I just don't know anybody. Well, there's 7.8 billion people in the world. And I'm just going to comment on a few people that I know where they're from. In the state of New Jersey, there's 8.9 million people. In Texas, there's 29 million people. In Hawaii, there's 1.4 million people. In Ohio, there's 11.7 million people. So, and as you know, Lifevantage is in Europe, 741 million people. The United States, 328 million people. 30 million of them are unemployed. And soon we're going to be in the Philippines, but I'm not going to bother because Kai already knows everybody there. So it's probably going to be, nobody will be able to sponsor anybody in the Philippines once Kai gets there. About 114 million. On a smaller version, in Boston, 692,000, Philadelphia, 1.5 million, Austin, 978,000, Youngstown, Ohio, 61,000. There's lots of people out there, folks. So contacting really shouldn't be too much of a problem. There's a lot of people out there. You're not going to meet them all, and you don't need them all. I think the most important thing when it comes to contacting, there's obviously two different places. There's your warm market, the people that you know, ranging from your family to your really good friends to your acquaintances. I think the most important thing when it comes to that is don't prejudge it. You don't know who's going to do this or who's not going to do this. The people you think are going to knock it out of the park, they don't get it. They don't see it. They don't want to see it. They're not, or they're not looking. That's okay. If somebody's not looking, you're not going to beat them into submission in terms of making them look. Don't worry about that. Your job is to ask, not to make them get in, because guess what? That doesn't make them bad people. It just means they weren't looking. Remember, you weren't always looking, and I suspect, like me, you said no several times before you actually joined. Two comments about the warm market. You know, one thing, you just look on your cell phone. You know, you probably have at least 200, 300, 400, maybe even as many as 1,000 people that you know that you call on a somewhat regular basis. That's your warm market. So just kind of make it a goal to quote, get rid of them. All right. Two things with that. Either, you know, a lot of people say, hey, you know, they built their entire business with a cold market. Well, that's fine. All right. Get through your warm market, and if everybody says no, you still win, because you've gotten through your market, and I doubt everybody will say no, by the way. You'll at least pick up some customers. And two, you won't have to feel guilty about never giving them the chance. You don't ever want to be in a position where your cousin says, well, how come you never told me about this? Tell him or tell her. You know, what's the worst they're going to do? They're going to say no. Well, that's all right. You can do this. All right. Just remember, you're giving them an opportunity. All right. Now the cold market. Cold market is really complicated. I hope everybody get your pen, get a pen and paper, write this down, because it's really, really important. It's very difficult too. The first thing you need to do is say hello. If the person smiles and responds, then you talk to them. If they don't respond, leave them alone. It's called the dog theory. If they wag their tail, hey, that might be somebody you like and you want to be in business with them. If they growl at you or ignore you, you don't have to keep talking to them. So if you can say hello, you can do this. What do you look for? You know, like I said, the dog theory. If they're reasonably friendly, proceed. One of the things I used to do years ago when I was in another business, is people be looking at a newspaper. Now that doesn't happen as much today. Everybody gets their stuff online, but every now and again you'll see somebody reading a newspaper, or you'll see somebody, you'll be able to tell that they're looking at something online. And just as a conversation starter, I'd say, any good news? And invariably the person would say whatever they say. It doesn't matter what they say. All right. They say, nah, no, there's no good news. Well, what do they keep printing those newspapers for? Why do they even have the internet if they don't put any good news up? It generally gets people just kind of chuckling. Again, back to the dog theory. If someone is willing to engage, then you can go from there. All right, common interest, book clubs, professional organizations, gyms when we're allowed to go back and go to a gym. Those are the people that you're looking for. You already have some common ground. And one of the things that I think a lot of people are afraid to do, and it's not easy, I'll admit that, is sponsor up. You're going to do better if you sponsor people who you perceive to be your equal or better. And I don't mean as a person. I mean from a career perspective, perhaps financially. One of the guys I just brought in recently is, I know he's made way more money than I've ever made, even at my best. And it's kind of funny. So it's a little bit nerve-wracking sometimes when you're talking to a colleague like that. But he said he talked about it. He goes, hey, I've got diabetes. He said, I really like to take the product. He said, I'm really not interested in the business end of it. He goes, you know what? My wife will probably be interested in this. So let's see what happens with me from a medical standpoint. And he goes, and I'd like to continue that down the road. So you never know where that's going to go. One other important thing if you're having any difficulty with contacting, just set a simple goal. One contact a day, whether it's somebody on your telephone or on your phone list, or you just go out and meet somebody at a mall or whatever. One contact a day for 30 days starts a new habit. You do anything for 30 days, you start yourself a new habit. One other thing I would definitely suggest, I think, what do we have? 26 people on this call. We do this a little bit. Christiane and I do this. We're not as good as we could be about it, but we've done a contacting team. So it's an accountability team. Get together with somebody and say, I'm going to make X number of contacts a day, and then tell them how you did it. In today's world, it's real easy. You don't have to call and talk for 20 minutes. You just send them a short text. Today I talked to 2 people. Today I showed 1 plan. Today I had a third party with Kai or Greg or whoever. But when you know that you have to tell somebody what you did that day, you're much more likely to do it. So
wonderful, wonderful, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Those were such golden nugget. Thank you for accepting this challenge. You guys, give Joe your TLCs by dropping on the comment below. Drop a 1, you guys, and then we shall continue our, hold on a second.
Yeah, can we get this?
All right.
Site back up there.
Lots of loving up there. So, Greg?
Guess what? We have a special guest speaker tonight.
Woo-hoo!
And guess what? He was so darn good last week that we decided to bring him back. And he's got a lot more to share with us. So we call this part 2, the continued back office work through training. And with that said, I will let my lovely wife tell you a little bit more about this guest speaker.
Yes, for those people who did not meet Frank, well, Frank Leon is our Lifevantage Field Development Manager, and he has been with Lifevantage for about 3 years. He began as a level 2 supervisor in distributor support, and then just 2 months later, guys, he moved up to the Field Development Manager role. That's why he's here with us today, because he's doing a great job. And today's topic, he will continue our back office walkthrough training on subscription updates, referral URL updates, marketing playbook review, because I know a lot of you don't know how to use your marketing playbook, and launch guide review, you guys. And of course, Greg, before I bring in Frank Leon, would you like to tell them where they're going to get some recorded calls that we have every week?
Yeah, absolutely. So where you can find that is we have a website out there in YouTube under Kai Hayes Lifestyle. And when you go out there, you can see that it says tools and resources. So that's where you want to go. And again, if you have any questions, let Kyra and I know, and we'll make sure you get to the right place.
Absolutely, because we did have a great training with Dr. Jean DeLucia. That's actually a big hit as well. And Josie Tong. Well, that is something that you must watch, okay? So on to Frank Leon. Are you there, Frank?
That I am. Thank you, you guys. That was fantastic. Great job, Joe. That was good stuff. Getting people to be accountable for what they're doing too is fantastic. And then utilizing a tool like your back office, it works hand in hand. So I appreciate that segue into what we're doing today. So as Kai and Greg talked about, this is like a part 2. So again, I'll do as I did before. I'm going to share my screen, get us into the back office. And again, just to touch on the areas we walked through, we did go over qualifications. We talked about key measures where you can review PV, OV enrollments, daily bonus information. Any new details will also be listed here in our what's new. And again, we went through all of these business tools and quick reports as well. So since Kai has that video, again, utilizing that, I went into a lot more detail on each one of these sections here. But as I have in my notes here, the section that we stopped on that I really want to continue at is definitely going to be subscriptions. So again, anytime you hover above any of these options in the blue bar, it's going to open up an additional section. And going into subscriptions, this is a place where you can manage your back office. It has the ability to cancel a subscription. It's got some quick reference guides in regard to where your orders are going to be shipped to, the next date it'll be shipping, the amount on the volume, the cost of the order itself, excuse me, the volume here, and the cost on the order, and then the order number itself. So again, canceling, quick and easy, hit cancel, hit exit. Again, if you don't want to, but just a quick yes, delete that order, and that can remove it. So if you have some, at some point, maybe doing a couple of them, you can remove one off of there. If you are looking to add a new subscription, again, that button is right there to click on. And then this is where you can manage. So going into change, and at this point you have your back office here. One big thing that I always like to call out is that if you are going to edit anything within your back office, or excuse me, in your subscription in regards to product, please, please, please always add first, then remove. Because when you add the product and then remove, basically the system thinks, okay, we're just editing what's in there. But if you try to remove all of this and then go to add, once you get to that last item and try to remove it, the system thinks that you're trying to cancel your subscription. So it's going to refer you to distributor support when you really don't need to be going to them. So again, just to reiterate, go into continue shopping. That'll let you pick your product. It'll show up in here, then remove anything else that you don't want. And again, the big thing to remember is save changes. So anything that we do in here that has edit options, as we do it, it'll have you like a save or a submit button. But once it's done, you always want to go to save changes to lock that in. So for example, this ship to date or a ship date, I went in there and edited that to be the 20th rather than being the 25th. Again, I clicked on the 20th, I hit submit. My browser just verifies, and you will notice that it did switch it over. But again, you're not done. So please remember to go into save changes. And in doing so, you're going to get a message that says your changes have been saved. So that is your indicator that anything you just edited will actually be saved. And then you can jump out, go into different sections, knowing that that edit is complete and locked in. Because in my distributor support role as a supervisor, definitely had many conversations where folks said, I know I changed it. I saw the date change. And they did do those first steps correctly. It was just that last piece of saving changes. You do have the option to, again, change the ship to address. You can edit your payment method, meaning if you're maybe somebody who's been with us for a while, I always suggest going in here and editing and removing some old credit cards that could be either expired or you might have just utilized for a one-time deal. So please remember to just remove those payments so that way they're out of the way and there is no kind of cross using of a credit card that you didn't want to use. So remembering those pieces. And again, you do edit, it locks it in, it'll show it here, but as I stated before, save changes, you always want to do that. And then if you're like Frank and you have maybe 2 or 3 email addresses, and there's one that I do look at more often than the others, I have that ability to edit that email. And again, whenever this email address, it just makes me giggle because Frank's 12 years old, poop@poop.com. But again, just change it to whatever node you're going to go into and look at on a regular basis. And then once you do that edit, as I stated before, save those changes. One big thing to remember too with your subscription dates is if it's set for the 20th, you always want to at least give a 48-hour buffer of when you go in and make those edits and changes. Because if you get in there within about 48 hours of the actual ship date, what the system will do is it's going to push it out to the following month. And the reason being is as it gets closer to that date, the warehouse is starting to gather those products. So at that point, it's in motion for them to gather your order together and to get processed out on the actual shipment date. So by giving yourself that, 3-5 business day window prior to shipping out, that'll kind of give that buffer. Always double check, again, going back into home and then coming back to shopping and subscription orders. When you go back in there, again, this will allow you to just review if all those edits you actually took in the system and if there was any edits to that ship date as well. So just remembering those are some key things that'll help you manage your subscriptions as well. You can preview. So anytime you make edits in there, if you hit preview, it'll let you look over the order. It'll let you know what card's being billed, what the email address it's being sent to, the address, and then the actual ship date. So to give you that option to review that as well. That's where, again, you can coach your preferred customers, go in there and be accountable for their own subscriptions. I know as a leader, once you kind of get bigger and bigger and folks are kind of leaning on you more and more to help out, a lot of times that subscription is one thing that people say, hey, I need help with this, or can you postpone that, or can you edit this? But if you empower them to show them how to do it, because this section is exactly the same as it would be for a preferred customer as it is for a distributor, it just opens up a little bit of time for you because they're managing on their own.
Do you want to hang on? Do you want to cover any of those questions, Kai, real quick?
Yeah, I have a question here. What if preferred customer wants to hold off with their monthly subscription? Is there anything that they can do aside from calling the customer service? I think, Frank, you addressed this by canceling their order, right?
They can either cancel or they can push it out a month. So see how we're in the month of August?
Yeah.
And if I wanted to go to the 25th of September, that is an option. Anything beyond 1 month, you can either cancel it yourself or call distributor support and say, hey, push this out 3 months for me. And they have that option to process it. And again, that's via chat. And you have that option right here to chat with them or support at.com, or you can call into our distributor support phone number.
Excellent. I hope that answers Ann Covarrubia's question. The next question goes to Christian Demore, but I cannot understand the question. Is it true? Can't see your PC exact products, they need to change themselves, or they can call corporation? Can you get that, Frank?
I'm assuming they're meaning change products. So yeah, if you go in here and do continue shopping, what it'll do is take you to the shop page, and then whatever product you choose, you go to checkout, it'll take you here, and whatever you've chosen should load into here. And again, quantity, you have the ability to edit and then remove anything else that you don't want. And I'm thinking that.
Actually, I was wondering with that question, it wasn't for my own order, but if a PC wanted me to do it for them, I don't have the capacity to go in, right? Because it has their personal credit card numbers and information. Mm-hmm. So they would need to.
Yeah, what they would say is, hey, Christine, I trust you enough. Here's my login. Go in there and do this. But this is why I say, do it with them, walk them through this, show them these videos so they just go, hey, you know what? Well, I have a video I can show you that I actually show you how to do that yourself. I'll stay on the phone while you do it. And then at that point, they can double check via email, via chat, or call in distributor support to verify.
Great, again, thank you.
Gotcha. But that empowering piece, it'll save you time. It'll get them more confident of knowing that they can manage and edit on their own as well. Great question.
Thank you.
Perfect. So next piece that I'll go into will be this order and package tracking. This is a good resource for the fact that, again, as it talks about, it'll allow you to track your orders. It'll show you the volume, the dollar amount, but it also gives you the option to actually print an invoice. So if you're the type of individual that wants to have an invoice with each one of your orders, you could actually go into here, print it out, and in doing so, file it away or copy it and paste it somewhere, but it does give you that option. So again, printer-friendly version, but as I stated before, it gives you the order number, where it was shipped to, Again, you got your tracking information. It'll let you know the actual date that the order was done, and that in comparison to the actual ship date. The PV date, the volume, and then the dollar amount that you paid on the order itself. So again, if you just click on this order number, it'll allow you to pull up this invoice. You can see in more detail the product itself, the product code that was utilized, again, volume, dollar amount, taxes that were there. So any of the details that you might want to get a little bit more in depth in, it'll have it listed in this invoice section. And then in this payment piece, it'll break it down for you as far as what was paid out. And in this payment type, you'll see that word orbital. That's just the name of the system we use to process any credit cards. It's ran through Chase Bank. So if you see anything with orbital, that just means that's the system we use to process that order itself. So order and tracking, again, it's a good way of just monitoring it, whereas it is in the delivery process. Again, if I need an invoice for tax purposes, whatever the case may be, again, you can utilize the order and tracking to pull that information up as well. That leads us into this next section, which is account services and account inquiry. I like this piece because I know in our previous one, we talked about our commission summary, where it'll show you your primary and secondary commissions. But there are times where you'll have like flip the switch as a promotion and you'll get paid a bonus. And it's not really a primary, but it's not a secondary either. So this is where you can come and actually see those deposits on those bonuses. So if there is anything that says like flip the switch, it'll have it listed here. It'll let you know the payment date and it'll give you the dollar amount that you're getting paid out on that. So that's where you can see those additional bonuses. And also those scenarios where you might get an email from Hyperwallet saying, hey, expect a deposit of $100. And then that deposit date comes and you get an $80 deposit. And you might wonder why, what happened? Where did that other $20 go? You can come to this accounts inquiry and just see if there was any clawbacks. And what that basically is you might have signed somebody up, they purchased product, you got $20 off of that initial enrollment, but then that person changed their mind and they returned that product. At that point, we paid you $20, so we'll need to get that back. And this is where a clawback would come into play. So you will see that listed here, the clawback. It'll give you the dollar amount. It'll give you the order number, but it won't give you the individual, because what we're trying to do, just for security reasons, we don't want folks reaching out to somebody, hey, why did you return that? I thought you wanted it, type of scenario. So always keeping that in mind, and the fact that clawbacks can be listed here and reviewed, and you can see that amount itself as well. You can also see, again, as I talked about before, this orbital. In this test corporate, this is where you would see your name. If you purchased a product, it'll give you the dollar amount there, and then that orbital would show up to let you know you paid for that order. So this is what this is talking about here. Again, it talks about primary and secondary bonuses. If you did get a check, the check fees will be listed there as well. So this information is used by distributor support as well to look up those details for you. And at the very top, it does give you that legend of what those two letters mean throughout the actual resource as well in that far left status section. So I know I said this a lot on the last one of just getting back here, play with it, look it over, review it, because the more you're in it, the more familiar and the more you'll start seeing things as repetitive, and it doesn't seem as, you know, lost with the information you're looking at. So it's just getting familiar with the resource itself. Before I move on from there, any questions that we need to review, Kai? We good?
No, go ahead. Let's continue. Good.
Excellent. So again, went to accounts inquiry. This middle section here, like password, personal information, preferences, personal, this will allow you to make edits to your account. Again, if you want to edit your password to your back office, you have that ability here. Personal information, this is more to do with your billing. So if I were to change my address here, that will not change it in my subscription. I would still need to go into subscription and make that edit to that address there as well. But this will actually allow you to update your billing information. So if the credit card that's attached to your account maybe has a different address and you want to go in there and make sure the billing is matching on both, you have that ability to make that edit here as well. Personal privacy, this will allow you to make those edits. If you don't want to receive emails from corporate, there's a couple of boxes there you can check mark and uncheck mark off. That will allow you to have a little bit more control with that as well. And then this last piece is what we talked about earlier in regards to having the ability to edit your referral site. So if you go to my referral site admin, what this will allow you to do is actually edit your URL, which is this section up here. Anytime you go to a web page, it has a URL. So it'll allow you to edit that along with, there we go, along with making edits to what actually will show up in the bar that has your name listed on there. So when I go into this one, as you can see, it's got your distributor is Darren Jensen. But if I wanted to make an edit to that, I could actually edit that here, or if I wanted to add a phone number or maybe change a number that's already in there, or if I wanted to read Dr. Jensen, something of that nature, I have that ability to make those edits as well. Same instance of just save changes after that's done. In regards to your URL, you can change it here. Just remembering that after you put it in, save changes, and if there's a red bar that comes up or red lettering, basically it'll let you know that it's already in use by another distributor. If nothing comes up, then the one you put in there is saved. So then at that point, again, this URL up on top will have that edited to whatever you changed it to. And that's really important as a distributor. You want to know your URL to hand it out to folks so that way they know to go to your replicated site, ensuring that they are enrolling underneath you when it's that time. So this will allow you to have all of those editability resources as far as being more in control, again, of your back office, along with your replicated site as well. So again, a lot of details that were a combination of both. By watching the previous video and then going over this one, it just kind of goes into more depth in regards to each one of these sections. So I always recommend that. And then when you're done with your back office, one recommendation is always sign out. By just closing it, at times cache and cookies might take you to some places or hold on to information. By logging out altogether, it should allow you to just basically jump back in as fresh and new. But clearing your cache and cookies every once in a while is always recommended as well. So that covers the information when it comes to the back office. Again, this is a tool to be utilized. As a distributor, you want to have accountability for yourself. You want to be able to know what tools are there available for you to utilize, and then also be able to manage your team. So having this as a resource and being in it on a consistent basis is definitely to your benefit. And then before I move on from the back office, again, any questions we need to address, and I'll jump into the playbook after this.
Go ahead, Frank, nothing.
Perfect. So next piece is the marketing playbook. So again, if you went to your replicated site and went into the far right and did login, what it'll basically do is ask you for your login information that you use to get into your back office. And then once you're there, upper right-hand corner will show your name. So hello, Kai, hello, Greg, it'll be listed there. If you hit this drop-down arrow, right below updates is the monthly marketing playbook. So clicking on that, it'll take you to that exact page. So now you're in the playbook itself. And again, just as the back office is a tool, this playbook can be utilized for that same way as far as sharing information, reviewing videos, looking at podcasts. So I'll go through each one of those sections. Just as Kai and Greg advertised, you got your virtual event. So to give you some details there, along with being able to download some assets. And what those are basically, it gives you the ability to share those via social media. If you're gonna have something with your team, you can actually download these. So if it is gonna be a big subject that you can talk about, you can download it to your computer, and it gives you a couple of different variations. So again, one more phone friendly, another one more desktop friendly. And you can at that point share that and kind of use it as a front running tab to say, hey guys, this is gonna be our focus for the next half hour. So utilizing this for that when that's gonna be a subject that you're gonna cover. So these assets you will find are listed throughout, and to your benefit is just sharing that with your team. Right below this is another awesome resource. This is where we're gonna have all of our Saturday and Tuesday meetings. Any of them that were done, the recordings are gonna be listed here. And I'll go into the Success Mastery, and folks that haven't been to one, again, every Saturday, all the Zoom information is right there, the password information, just going into your playbook, it's always gonna be that same Zoom link that'll get you into it. Going into the download of recordings will allow you to see a vast array of information of knowing what was either covered that day. So by hovering over each one of these, it'll give you the date, letting you know this is the full actual recording. If there were specific things that were covered, we might call out. So in this scenario, True Science Refining Mass, Rebecca Glazer reviewed that information. So if you want to share not so much the whole Success Mastery, but maybe just chunks and sections, this is your opportunity to do so. You can go in, find the information presented by maybe an individual that your team really just kind of clicks with, or maybe somebody you're like, wow, the way they presented it is the way I want to present. I'm going to watch that video over and over, maybe get some pointers from it, and then utilize that to share with my team. And then even Kai and Greg, if you want to assign your team some homework, have them come into the playbook, assign them maybe a video to utilize, review, and then on your next meeting, you guys can kind of talk about it, almost like a book club type of thing. So through which it's accountability for your team, and you're knowing they're going over something that could be a focus for your group as well. So there's just such vast information here. It's like I always say with the back office, it's what am I using it for? Myself, I love hearing Dr. Dixon present, whether it be about product or nutrigenomics. I just like the way he presents and the way he speaks. So having a couple of these listed here, I would go into it. So just by clicking on the picture, and in doing so, now I can use this as a shareable to say, hey guys, we're going to do this video. This is what I want you to watch. And then I can actually go into the video itself, and this will allow me to watch it, whether it be on my desktop or on my phone. So the playbook, I'm not sure if all of them are listed, but I know a lot of these are actually listed in the app as well. So in your downtime, when you're in front of it, my wife and I late at night, we'd like to play on TikTok for a half hour, 45 minutes. But if I was a distributor, I would utilize that time to maybe watch a video and gain some information. So that way I just feel more comfortable when I'm speaking about nutrigenomics. What is it? What is it all about? And by utilizing these videos, it's again to my benefit, because now I have a vast array of information that I can speak to as well. So utilizing this resource is definitely to your benefit. And again, if there's somebody that you click with and that you like hearing information from, find their videos, review them, and utilize them. So scrolling up from there, that was our Saturday videos. And then to the right of that, again, is going to be our Tuesday Taking Control. So in this resource, same thing, Zoom and all the information is listed there. And it'll give you guys an idea of who's coming up or who's been done in the past already as far as videos. And same instance, hovering over each one of those will let you know the presenter, more or less what they're reviewing. And it's again, it's just knowing, what am I going to do with this? Am I going to do it for self-benefit? Am I going to utilize it for my team? Maybe it's a prospect that's just kind of on the fence and they want to hear it from somebody different. Utilizing one of these videos and saying, hey, just watch from 2:12 to 3:15. There's a big chunk in there that you and I talked about, and I think it would be great for you to review. 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to end up watching the whole thing. So it's again, it's just laying it out in front of those people and getting them a resource that they can come back to and review. And they may not speak to you for a week or two, and then they're like, hey, I actually had the time to watch the video and it's fantastic. Accountability too. If again, I share it with somebody new, I want them to watch it. As I meet with them the next time, I can make them accountable by ensuring that they're really all in and they're following through in their commitments as well. So these videos can be used in just a number of different ways, but looking at the presenters on each one of these, it's again, 8s, 9s, 10s within the company. I had the opportunity to work with Brandon Cunningham when I was an account manager over the East. So I just have a kinship with him. So I like watching his videos. I can listen to him. I've seen him present in person. So watching his videos, I just have a connection there. So it's just, again, finding those folks that speak to you in a way that's really beneficial. And I kind of think of it too as the parent syndrome, and the fact that I might tell my kids 5 times to do something or give them advice. And then my neighbor comes over and says the exact same thing, but just because he said it, now my kids' eyes are opening up and they're like, oh, Dad, how come you never told me? I'm like, come on, kid. I've been saying this. But that's what you might be able to use these videos for as well, is to go, hey, I've been saying this over and over. This is the things you need to do. But to hear it from a different voice, presented in a different way, it just might inspire somebody at that point. So this is why this is a fantastic tool on a regular basis folks can come into and look at. And it doesn't cost you anything, folks. The fact that the company does this and it's at no cost to you. I've seen other MLMs that do it as a monthly fee they have to pay, even with the back office, resources like this. So knowing it's a free resource to utilize to benefit you and your business, why not? It makes sense. It really does. So utilizing that resource. Scrolling down from there, we usually will have a product of the month. I know last month was NAD. This month is going to be the Tri-Synergizer. So again, if you want to have a time where you guys are reviewing something or discussing it as a group, downloading these assets in order to ensure that you guys have a presentation type of resource to review. And it could be, you know, the full line. It could be just giving the ingredients. I mean, it's just a matter of, again, what am I using it for and what am I pushing? what does Lifevantage put in my lap that I can utilize at that point? So going through it and finding out what you can utilize at that point is to your benefit as a group and a team and as an individual. Also, in conjunction with that, usually our blogs will coincide with what our product of the month is. So that way you will have, questions answered. You can read more information about that product of the month. Oxidative stress theory of aging, by having that Tri-Synergizer as our product of the month. And now this blog here, again, speaking points, things to review, stuff to talk about that will inspire your group, because now it's information you can provide to everyone. And then below that, we have our Facebook Live and Instagram videos. So same instance here, this Follow Darren will actually take you to his Facebook page so you can review any videos that he has done, interviews, or just, one-on-ones that he's doing with everyone. Those will also be listed here. And I think you guys know Josie Tong. Instagram Live, same instance there, will have some information. And it's just a matter of, again, utilizing and seeing maybe those folks that you have some kinship with. Of course, I'm sure this Josie Tong video is going to get a lot of hits from your team because you guys have that friendly, I've worked with her, I felt like I know her, so I'll probably watch her video first. So it's just knowing who and when, and of course the times that they will be on, and it's to your benefit. So utilizing this to keep you involved as well. And then this last section about social media assets, this is again those shareables that are listed, but it'll actually break it down to you in a little bit more of a different format, meaning you can find images, videos, training information, and clicking on the training, it'll have quick videos, whether it be about the playbook that I'm covering right now, going about Facebook Lives with Darren. I mean, it's just a lot of different trainings that you can get that are just readily available to you. It's just, again, finding the time, setting up your day, an hour a day to review, or again, as Joe was talking about, hey, I'm going to call 3 prospects, and then after that, I'm going to watch 1 video. So it's just structure and holding yourself accountable on a consistent basis. Again, the success mastery information, of course, the presentations, and I like to call this out because our new PowerPoint is listed here. So by going into that, it gives you the ability to review it, know it, and then when it's time for you to present, you can utilize this PowerPoint that's already built for you. So it's just curtailing and presenting in a way for you to feel comfortable with it. But the more you know, the more you're going to feel confident on what you're talking about as well. Also, again, for Greg and for Kai, if you have recognition that you want to call out, you got some templates you can utilize here. Grabbing somebody's photo, congratulations that they hit different pro rankings. So it's just, again, so much to be utilized. And what am I doing with this? Did I even know that was there? Well, you don't know until you start clicking buttons. And that's always going to be my advice when it comes to resources like this. It's just go into them, find it, utilize it to your benefit, and it's just going to work out. It's just one of those things, the more I use it and I become more defined and utilizing it for my benefit, well, then my team's going to grow out of that because I'm getting better at it as well.
Frank?
Yes, ma'am.
There's one question from Kona. Is the monthly playbook accessible in all countries?
I don't believe so. I believe it's just in the US market right now. But again, you can always change that flag in the upper left-hand corner and then have the ability to come in and review this within the US one.
Thank you.
Great question. Let's see. Also, you saw it in the assets, but we also have our social media calendar. And I like this because it could be that we have a specific month and we have a focus. So this month itself is all about health and wellness. And this is where you can review and identify, and I always like to zoom in a little bit, so control and scroll in. And again, it just lets you know about different products that we are doing to kind of coincide with that day. So, take mindfulness to your heart, and then it gives you some information about whether it be NAD or again, different products that would coincide with that day. And if you scroll down to the bottom here, this is more on a national level where it could be just something fun to present to your team. Tomorrow is National Root Beer Float Day. My son has it circled on his calendar. He is ready to go. So for him, that's what he's worried about. That's his focus. But it's a good fun way to maybe start a meeting. Again, Kai and Greg do a fantastic job of just calling out some bullet points. And again, if you guys want to grab some content from here, you can utilize it as well. So on those days that you guys know you'll be meeting, you can review and see. Again, for me, Vinyl Record Day, that's right up my alley. I'm all about that. So it's just something fun to share with your team but along with, again, utilizing what's on top here to match it up with the business as well. So this should be loaded on the 1st of every month. If you don't see it in there, please let me know, because I always like to give that feedback to our team if it's something that's missing as well. But that in of itself is what the playbook is. The playbook is just a lot of resources. It gives you information that you can benefit from, to the point where it's, again, what am I using it for and why is it to my benefit? Why should I be using this? Well, find out what's in there first, and then at that point, build that structure to identify how can I use it and what's the benefit to me and my team. So the playbook is, like I said before, it's something that is provided by corporate for you to grow with and utilize on a regular basis as well. Let me jump out of here. Let's see. In doing so, this will lead to our next piece. So within our website, again, you've gotten all this information. You could be in all these different sections and review it. And then if you did ever want to review and say, hey, you know what I want to talk about, which is my next section, going over the launch guide. If you're ever in the website and if you just start typing anything, you'll see that the search bar will populate for you. And in doing so, it'll start showing up all different results depending on what you're putting in there. So for me, I'm going to do launch. And I haven't even finished spelling it, but you can see here, welcome to Launch Guide. So it's a quick and easy way for you to get to that resource itself. And this is where, again, the structure that this can do for you as far as either starting off or maybe taking a different approach. This launch guide is really beneficial. You've got Rachel Jackson that's going to go through a video to basically walk you through step by step to assist with this process. And then also below is, again, all the details in regards to why this is to your benefit. You know, support my team, utilizing your back office. I already talked about the playbook, the meeting scheduler. It's all about your success and your focus. So this launch guide is just that. It's a guide that you can download right here, and it will give you information. Again, once you watch the video, all of this kind of makes more sense as well in regards to launching your business, getting a system in place. Again, as Joe talked about, reaching out to individuals. And then once you've got them, now what do I do? So this launch guide will help you with that structure, getting them involved. And then at that point, the follow-up, which is, again, keeping people consistently involved, understanding what's going on, getting them on meetings like this. So this launch guide is really just a good way of managing that and utilizing it to get started and have a structure. Because a lot of times I have folks that start off and they just like, okay, what do I do? And you're like, well, here's what I do. And it may not fit what their personality type is. So by giving them variety and utilizing this launch guide is to their benefit. And then at that point, they'll make it their own. But if we can get the company itself to have folks utilize this on a consistent basis, then we will have that flow and that structure, especially those beginners. And I know in due time, they're actually working on ones as you get to those higher levels. So usually by Pro 3, that's a rank that we start looking at and going, okay, you've got it down, you understand this, now how do I get to Pro 5? And then they'll have a guide for that. And then from 5, Pro 5 Summit, I got there, now how do I get to 7? So it's, again, it's just getting a guide and a structure for you so that way you know through each one of these levels, I kind of have a format, a roadmap to get me there as well. So that's what this launch guide will do. Again, I won't read through it because you guys can read, you can all see it. But it's a matter of, again, what am I doing? Am I inviting folks? Am I utilizing this tool? You know, as my team is being structured, am I making them feel a part of this team? Am I staying in touch with these individuals? How am I engaging with my team? How am I motivating everybody? So by documenting those little things, that structure will be there for you as a leader, and then your team will feel that because they know you're involved. And then at that point, you can start looking at that and going, okay, who are my folks that are running with this? All right, there's my next leader that I may need to have a separate conversation with to say, I need you to kind of follow these steps because you've got that gleam in your eye. You've got the fire in you right now, and I want to keep that going. And by offering up this tool, it will motivate them as well. So invite, tool, and team. Again, as you review the video, it'll give you all the structure and what each one of those mean. As you read through them as well, it'll assist with just giving you that structure to that initial layout with the launch guide. It's a launch guide for a reason. It's to help you launch, get your team established, and then start building that cyclical cycle with the launch guide and having them utilize it as well. So again, just another fantastic tool that's being laid out that is at no charge to you. It's just a matter of utilizing it and making it your own to build your team with as well. So tools, it really is the case. If I'm building something, I want to have a multitude of tools in front of me because I might have a different job that I need to use it for. My back office being one, my playbook being another, and this launch guide being another. So again, I put it on you guys as accountability to say, what are you going to use it for and how are you going to find success by utilizing each one of these tools? And that's what I got, Kai.
Wow, 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 Frank, guys, let me tell you this. This is a brilliant way of showing to you how Lifevantage is committed to us. Not only that they have prepared all these tools and resources at our back office, the same thing as our virtual office, according to Jeff. Well, it was also tackled to us by our field development leader as well. We are spoiled, you guys. So literally, in my own opinion, even if you are an orphan, you can build this business. That's what I was like thinking, like, oh my God, even if you say, I don't have a support, I don't have the upline, you know, just like us, we were orphans when we were Pro 3, but it didn't stop us, guys. During that time when we were building this sort of like a Lifevantage business at the Pro 3, we didn't have these resources that Frank have taught us tonight. We didn't have these resources, but by goodness, I think, you know, you just have to commit these 3 C's, which is letter C, commit 100%. Another C is be consistent, because if you're not consistent, even if you're committed like in 30 days, you can't build a big business. C is consistent, C committed, and then C, call to action. You've got to put all of this into action. And Frank did a wonderful, wonderful job with us again tonight. That's why he is who he is in Lifevantage right now. 2 months, he just, boom, moved up to another rank. We're not going to be surprised, Frank, if you're just going to be like one sales director, Frank Leon. So we are rooting for you. And please drop a comment below, say yes to give Frank our Thanksgiving for him tonight, spending your time with us and truly detailing to us all these important nuggets that we need to learn, especially that marketing playbook. Oh my goodness, the library of all the tools and resources that we need, even for training. You don't even have to create your own training. It's all in there. So you guys, is there any other questions for Frank? Wow. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. Frank, can you tell? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Rona.
Hi, Frank. Thank you so much. This is amazing.
Thank you.
It opened up more information for me. This
Awesome.
is what I've been looking for, actually, the trainings and all that. I was just gonna ask for the images, like, can we use them for curiosity posts in our social media?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
it
Great
compliant?
question. Because compliance has actually approved all of those videos, all of those social assets have been approved. So you don't have to worry about getting those emails or those letters from compliance. Again, that's why they're there. Yeah, no, it's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm sorry I didn't cover that. But it's definitely, again, it's been reviewed by compliance. They've looked it all over. So if you were to post it on Instagram or to share it on your Facebook page, it'll be compliant at that point.
Okay. Thanks.
Wow, wow, wow. So Frank, would you tell them that's the next Wednesday would be this one, another tools and resources that they can maximize in order for them to kind of like build their business successfully. What do we have for next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday, we'll have that app training. So I've already committed Kamal Thada, who's our VP over the app, and then Sherry Brown, who's our designer of the app.
Okay.
So,
wow.
a little bit of homework that I'll offer to you guys is, if you're not on the app, download it on your Android or iPhone. If you've maybe had it in the past, take it off, put the brand new version on, because there have been some updates to it. And what Sherry and Kamal will do is just as I did. They'll have the screenshots, so they'll be able to share their screen and walk you through it. And then Kamal will actually monitor the chat. So Kai and Greg, you guys are off the hook with asking questions, but he'll monitor it. And if there is something that stands out, Kamal will pause Sherry. He'll review it with the group to make sure everybody's on the same page. And if it's something that they're going to cover a little bit later, he'll let you know as well. But they are fabulous in their presentation. And again, it's just another tool that's at no cost to you, that's laid out for you. And when you're on the go, that's another resource within your phone that you can pull up and review that information as well.
Absolutely, because they're not necessarily like bringing their laptop all the time. And they didn't know that the app itself on the phone, they can do their business, right? And Kamal, our new vice president in application, and Sherry, also the designer, will be with us next Wednesday, so that you guys, we want to make you successful. We want you to really maximize our tools and resources. And I know that you have downloaded, probably some of you downloaded those apps from your phone, but it's really, we don't know how to maximize the usage of it because we do not have the understanding. So right now, we'd like to thank again Frank. Frank, you did a wonderful, not wonderful, but an outstanding job presenting to us and helping us to understand how to maximize our back office.
Thank you guys. Again, these opportunities, I'd love to take them because you guys, again, it's a matter of putting those tools in your hand and knowing that you have the support from corporate. We love to see you succeed. So if those folks that are shooting for a certain rank, share that with Kai. She'll get it over to the account manager. We'll monitor it also. So that way, if we can get another meeting like this, or if there's something that you guys are wanting as feedback or resources, again, utilizing your account manager for that, Kai, and then myself to get in there and speak to anything that we might need to for the team, we are more than happy to do so for you.
Wow, thank you for your commitment. Now they heard it. They heard it that we have full support from you guys, full backing. So I know that there's a lot of people here who are shooting for the next rank. Guys, we've got your back.
Kai, there was one question. Kai, there was one question.
Oh.
Somebody's
Okay.
asking, what is TaxBot? Can you explain that to us, Frank?
Sure. So TaxBot is another way where you can track your expenses. As a business, you want to track those things as you talked about in the beginning. So TaxBot is a service that we offer. I believe it's a $5 a month resource where you have the tax expense that's available. It's like a tracker that's in your back office as well. But they are a third party to us. So in that back office where it had what's new, I believe if you click on that quick link, it will give you some details on TaxBot as well. So it won't just sign you up automatically. You still have to go in there and agree to all their terms and conditions.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, the TaxBot. You can also download the app if you have that subscription. And then once you have the meal, your receipt, you just have to put your, app and take a record of that, and then it's going to be added to your, you don't have, they will organize your expenses. That's pretty neat. $5 a month, right, Frank? Well,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you guys. And like I said, we're going to shoot to the next rank, okay? Because by the end of the month, you guys, we're going to have a party. August 31st, we're going to have a party, Zoom party, because we're going to recognize all those people who has a lot of, customers and who also have rank advance or achieve the Pacesetter ranks and Pacesetter Pro, or even Pro 5, okay? So we are going to do that. Well, thank you very much again. Have a good evening, and until the next Wednesday, okay? Ciao. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Have a great day, team. Thank you again.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you,
everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Bye-bye.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so
Kai.
much.
Thank you, Greg.
Appreciate
Thank
that.
you,
Appreciate
Frank.
you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Good night, all.
Bye, Jay.
Ciao.
Thank you.